Hey everybody, we're here on a Saturday at Rossi Ranch. Just giving you a quick vineyard update. Sitting here in the middle of the heritage, and that's what we're working on today. Clearing out leafing and resuckering and cleaning up all the little heritage blocks. So we'll do just a little quick tour through the different blocks and talk about the varieties and just kind of why we love them and show you a little bit of what we're up to as well. So let's turn this camera around and check out where we're at right now. Number one here, we are in our Mourvedre block. So just about an acre of vines right up against Highway 29, which you can see the cars going by over there. 13 rows, planted 2014. Mourvedre, why Mourvedre? Mourvedre's been in California a long time, but they usually, and you can find very, very old plantings going back to the 1800s of Mourvedre in areas like Contra Costa and San Benito County. It was never as common in Napa, but we planted some anyway because it's just what we like to do. There's some beautiful, what they call mataro in some of the older classic areas in California. You can see that these berries have fully set, and their berries are growing up. We've just gone through, and you can see some of the leaves on the ground there. We've just gone through and opened up these canopies, especially down below, and really tried to get some airflow going into these head train vines, which is very critical for them to get the airflow underneath. We can't do anything mechanical with these vines, so they require a lot of hand work, and that's kind of what we're up to in general in the heritage block today. As you can see all the leaves on the ground, a little bit of resuckering here in the Mourvedre, mostly leafing. But if we go to the next block up to the Riesling, the old vine Riesling here at Rossi. This, you can see quite a bit more greenery on the ground. The Riesling was suckered fairly early, and we've had to go through and resucker it and really try and open up these canopies, because Riesling, really thrives on having some of that sun contact on the morning side. So right now the camera is facing west, and so you can tell that on this morning side, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's getting all this sunshine touching those grapes, getting a lot of the flavors going. But if we look on the afternoon side of these vines, this same vine is all covered up. We won't touch any of the leaves on the afternoon side, so that when the heat and the sun comes in the afternoon from the west, those grapes are all protected. You can see some of the green carnage on the ground here. Just kind of a typical process this time of year to really get the vines cleaned up. Right now is when mildew is at its kind of maximum danger point, and so getting light and air into these canopies is absolutely critical. So now we'll go check out some of the other blocks and check out what we're up to over there. So just one block up, we have this empty field, or almost empty field, I guess you could say, a newly rootstock planted field of 4 vines. This is what used to be the mongoose. The mongoose we had to rip out because of red blotch issues. The budwood we got was actually had some virus on it, and we didn't want to spread that virus elsewhere on the ranch. So we pulled out the mongoose, much to Jonah's dismay, and we asked Jonah, hey Jonah, what would you really love to see at Rossi? And he said some other grape, and so we chose Grenache to plant here. So this fall we're going to plant some Grenache. I'm working on getting some heritage budwood from old ranches in the area, and it'll be kind of fun to see some Grenache come in here, just because it's planted, or will be planted, right next to the Carignane block. So this is the Carignane block, planted 2009. The Carignane, we were just talking about mildew and how this is kind of prime mildew season. Carignane is probably the most mildew-prone variety, certainly that we grow. One of the most mildew-prone in the entire world. It's kind of the canary in the coal mine as far as mildew goes. So this block we actually resuckered and leafed a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago at this point, just to open it up even earlier. We prioritized this block in terms of cleaning it up, and we've actually just gone through and done the first thinning in any of the blocks that we've done anywhere on any of the ranches. So you can see some of the green bunches on the ground starting to open up these canopies and really clean out the fruit, make sure the fruit's not touching each other so that these grapes can grow and get sunlight, get air, resist mildew on their own, and start to ripen and start to develop flavor. So when the Carignane is on, it's kind of funny. Carignane gets a bad name because of how productive it is, and it's made into a lot of cheap, doux and ons in the south of France. But when it's on, when the yields are controlled, and when you get a nice warm year and a nice dry year like this one, Carignane can really sing. It has a lot of power, it has a ton of structure, and it really provides a valuable blending component to the heritage, giving it some of that zing and giving it some of that structure, which it's kind of fun seeing it going to come into being right next to the Grenache, just because these are the two classic grapes of the Priorat, one of my absolute favorite regions in the whole world. And here, one block up, we're in the Charbono, an acre and a half, planted 2009. The Charbono is really kind of the idea, the genesis of the idea behind the heritage. It's kind of the ne plus ultra of heritage grapes in Napa, just because it's been here for a very, very long time, ever since the 1880s. And it's kind of funny. There's not much Charbono left in California. There's only maybe 70 acres in the entire state, but fully half of those acres are in Napa, despite all the pressures around planting anything other than Cabernet Sauvignon or Chardonnay in Napa. Charbono's held on, and there are some devotees to it. We probably have one of the very few newer plantings in the entire state, for that matter. But we love it. I think the Charbono adds this kind of just soft, plummy, beautiful richness to the wine. It's not a super high acid grape, but it's very late ripening and very low alcohol. So it's a very low sugar accumulator. Probably why it's never been that popular as a growing grape, is it's very difficult to get to even 13% alcohol. But it's just such a beautiful backbone to the heritage. The heritage is usually almost at least a third and almost a half Charbono by blend percentage. So it's kind of it's a special grape for me. It's the genesis of the heritage, and really kind of a fun variety, low growing, but with big bunches, just like it's similar to the Spinal Tap song anyway, but big bunches, lots of flavor, really cool wine, kind of a mysterious, enigmatic wine, and it's always fun to work with stuff like that. That's just challenges you as a winemaker. Last but certainly not least, we've got the Napa Gamay, or the Val d'Agay, here at Rossi. Acre and a half all told. We're looking here at the what I like to call the old block, the 1947 block, which is right next to the new block, planted 1954. So they're both pretty old. Just beautiful vineyard. We really have spent a lot of time and put a lot of care into keeping these old vines going, and you can see they're healthy. They're reaching for the sky this year again. These vines, if you get up close, you'll notice that we actually haven't been able to get in and resucker these yet. You can see some little bit of fuzziness on these vines. We're going to get in here in a couple of hours and clean them up, get them nice and opened up. We went in here early to sucker them. It's very important to sucker this block early because of how old the vines are. You really don't want them putting a ton of energy into suckers, because they only, with this kind of age on them, you really want them pouring all their energy into their main shoots and into the fruit. These blocks are what in the old days went into the rosé exclusively. And I've been a big fan of trying to include at least 1.5 tons, 2 tons, up to 10% Napa Gamay in the heritage blend. I think it adds this kind of just joyful fruitiness to the wine, and just because our fans were clamoring for it, we're gonna start experimenting with some varietal wine out of the varietal Napa Gamay out of the old block here, out of the 1947 block, just to have some fun with it. This block has got to stay in the ground. At least the 47 block's got to stay in the ground, because I think it's a good idea to have at least one block here at Frog's Leap that's older than my dad. And so that's not the only reason we keep it in the ground, but it's kind of a fun little fact. The only block that's older than my dad. But such a beautiful block, and really kind of a fun way of working with old vines, participating in the heritage of Napa County and Napa Valley winemaking. And that's what it's all about. That's what makes it fun. So that's kind of what we're up to. Just cleaning up these old heritage vines, getting that light and air in there. And that's as we've discussed, kind of one of the major principles of organic farming is getting all of that light and air, so that we have a lot of good disease prevention and side benefit flavor potential. So it's it's a fun season. This is what the growing season's all about, is just trying to play catch up with the vines because they're growing like mad. And we're doing a decent job this year. I'm holding the camera so I can't brush my shoulder off, but we're doing a decent job keeping up with the vines this year. And that's what we're up to. Thanks, guys.